Hi. Welcome to the Human Design for Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Yvette Mayer, and this show's for you if you're done with cookie cutter marketing and ready to build your personal brand in alignment with who you really are. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Human Design for Marketing podcast. I am thrilled to be back in your ears. And this month, May 2026, I am trying something new and different, and I would absolutely love your feedback on this one because I'm going to be sharing a deep dive into May when it comes to the background frequency that the human design transits create for us, and also how that applies to your communication, your marketing, and what it means for you and your business. Now, this is something that I do each month on another podcast as a co-host, that being the Human Design podcast with Emma Dunwoody. And more recently, we've had an incredible woman join us to also explore the astrological forces at play. So I would highly encourage you to listen to that podcast if you don't already and catch the transits episodes. But I've come to realize that because we're kind of covering the broader context of the transits and now astrology as well, that I need a platform where I really go deep on the marketing implications and the business implications of the transits for you. And so I am going to experiment with recording the transits each month on here, on this podcast. I mean, it is the home of Human Design for Marketing, and it is also the home of the creator of the body of work, otherwise known as the 64 cosmic content codes, which turn each of the gates into cosmic content prompts for you. And therefore, I feel that bringing this body of work to the podcast every month is a very strong idea. Now, I will be looking at the number of downloads, the feedback that I get. So do reach out to me and let me know if you're excited for this and how this lands for you, because that will give me the stimulus that I need to respond to, and that will ensure that I keep doing this each and every month. So that's the intro. We're going to jump straight into it. I'm not going to talk about what just happened in April so much because this is a fresh start for us. So we're going to start from May 2026. What is going to be coming up for you energetically this month? So the first thing that is really important to know is that we're moving into a new quarter in the human design calendar, which is the quarter of civilization. Now, prior to this, we've been in the quarter of initiation. So during the start of the year, that means you're more likely to be experiencing ideas, concepts, mental clarity. It's a very emotional time. We go through all the solar plexus gates in the first quarter of the human design year. And so what really tends to happen is ideas, clarity, and maybe even some chapters closing. Whereas this quarter that we're going into is all about purpose through form. So we go from a time when we're strategizing and ideating into when we make manifest of this. And that also lines up with what happens in the individual gates that move through the sun transit. In particular, in May, we get into a series of throat-centered gates, which means we are actively all experiencing more clarity around our communication. What a fabulous time to be in business. May, and it continues through June, is very communication rich in terms of the energy that is showing up. So that's something to be excited about. May brings this new energy through. Now, what I will touch on when it comes to where we've been is the other thing that's been at work up until now this year is we've had the 3740 in the nodes all year. Now, this particular partnership means that we've all had, regardless of whether we're usually emotionally defined, we've all had both the solar plexus emotions turned on. So, for those of us who don't have an emotional definition, this may have been a particularly intense feeling time. And the will center. So, that's ego, it's drive, it's wanting to get things done. That's been true for us for the last few months, and it will continue through until around the 13th of May. So, this is what happens when particular gates are sitting in planets for long periods of time. It means that areas where we may not have definition are turned on. So, that's been playing out this year so far. We've had our emotional center, our will center, both active for the last few months. So, you may have been feeling this in the way that you've had more drive to get things done, not the urge of the root center, but more like willpower, like I will make this happen, and more emotions. It's definitely been true for me, especially in the last month where, okay, I will go into April a little bit. I created and launched beta style my own AI platform. It's currently hosted at yvettemaya.ai, but you can only log in if you're in one of my programs where we're using the new AI platform. And that is actually sold out offers by design and sacred visibility. So if you're in one of those programs, you already know about this. If you're not, you haven't been able to use the new platform yet. And look, I'm 55 years old. I'm not a coder. I never dreamed that I would be building out an AI platform. And it unfolded really quickly to the point where I heard no, I was knowing that I needed to find a solution to move into a more agnostic deliverable for my AI tools beyond ChatGPT. Particularly in the beginning of the year when there was some real pushback around some of the things that OpenAI were agreeing to. And so I set my heart on finding a way to move my tools over to Claude. That wasn't possible. What I discovered along the way is that it was possible to build my own platform where I could back end the language learning model through any AI tool. And so, what I wanted to do is test that out. And what ended up happening is in one day, I went from wanting to building out a usable platform. And over the next few days of testing and building and making sure everything worked, I got it to the point where I was ready for the beta testers to jump on board. And that's been happening all through April. What also happened along the way is bugs kept coming up. So it was generally something along the lines of a bug around like a memory would not be saved from one session to the next. And that is really big when you're using the tool and you've had a big work session and suddenly your memory disappears. So you can imagine that that's felt quite stressful for me. And not having the coding experience, have I been down the rabbit hole? Like I have spent at least half of my working hours, or I did spend in April, inside this tool that wasn't even on my radar in March. Crazy town. But what showed up? Incredible willpower to keep moving through difficulty and just keep going and knowing I could get there. And the emotions of overwhelm and maybe I shouldn't have never taken this on. And I don't know whether I personally am capable of this. All of that stuff has been coming to the surface. So if you've also been having those experiences, you're not alone. Add to that in April, it was also my birthday, which happens on the 21st of April. And that means gate 3 is present, which is my personality sun and all about chaos. Which is true for everything I've just experienced. I mean, gate 3 is difficulty at the beginning. I have had a lot of difficulty bringing this platform into the world. On the other side, I'm not actually on the other side, by the way, but I'm now in the position where I am having huge recognition by my community for how brilliant the platform is. So just this week, one of my clients shared publicly on her social media that Selena, the AI tool itself in Sold Out Offers, had helped her create her latest offer, which was a private coaching package, the sales page, everything that went with it. And she'd signed up 2 new private clients in the first week and actually shouted out Selena and the program for being what made that possible. So, yes, it's worth it. Yes, I will persist. And, with every day that passes, I know we're closer to true stability. And that's when I get to scale this. So, watch this space. Lined up perfectly with the energy that I've just described. So, now let's move on to May. So quite different energy coming through, as I said, with the civilization quarter coming in. And when I look at May itself, it's really a story of two halves because there's some pretty big changes going on planetary wise that kind of happen mid-month. And it's not just the nodes moving on. It's also timed with some other big changes, like Saturn is moving, Jupiter's moving. So the energy is going to feel really different, and there's going to be different opportunities as we move through the month. So if we wind it back to kind of the beginning of the month, we have one of my favorite gates coming through on May the 4th, which I think should be close to when this episode hits the airwaves. That is gate 2. Gate 2 in my marketing work is all about becoming a manifestation magnet. It's a very receptive energy. This is a time for you to really connect with your inner truth and be open to receive clients, open to receive feedback, open to make manifest all the things that you've been working towards. It really is an energy of stillness as well. It's not pushing, it's not doing, it's receiving. So this is a time when you get into connection with the bigger vision of what you're creating, and you get deeper into clarity in that vision rather than move. So I would, if anything, content wise, be thinking about asking your audience real questions and getting them to contemplate clarity and direction for themselves, and keeping your DM open for clients that want to come through at that time. So even though it's more about stillness and receptivity, I want you to be open to magical things happening in your business. 100%, that's for sure. Then we move from this energy into gate 23. This is, sorry, just to preface this, I'm going to let you know that gate 2 sits in the G center. So it's very purpose oriented, which you can kind of feel from what I was saying. Then we move into gate 23. This is a gate that is all about speaking original words. I call this gate in my marketing content codes original insight. It's not an energy of following the crowd or following a trend. This asks you to express yourself truthfully. And it is a throat-centered gate. So it's going to be present around the 10th to the 15th of May, and it starts the run of throat-centered gates. So this is when communication starts to build into a lot more power. So if anything, it's a quieter energy up until the 9th, and then we get into, okay, communication is on, and I am going to speak my original magic and unique perspectives during this window of the 10th to the 15th. Yay. I love the energy of the 23. This one sits in the throat, but it also is part of the channel with the 43 that connects through to the ajna. So it does come with this really like speaking my mind type of energy and speaking my original truth. All right, now some of the bigger things are going to be happening at this time as well. So May 13th is when the 3740 moves out of the nodes. And what's coming in, which I think is super exciting, is gate 55 in the north node and gate 59 in the south node. So there's not a channel being activated, so it's not going to turn on your centers for everybody. It really depends on what else you've got going on in your own chart. But these energies are really powerful. So the 55 is one of my favorites. It's the gate of spirit of abundance. So it really brings with it this anything's possible and a sense of freedom. Like I wanted to create this in a way that sets me free, that makes me feel free. And yes, when you're in that energy, it can also attract a lot of abundance into your world. So this energy is going to be persistent for the next couple of months, as well as the 59, which is the gate of intimacy. So both of these gates are going to be turned on for the next couple of months because they're in the nodes, regardless of what else is going on in your chart. And if you look at your chart, you might see that these energies do turn on channels. So for me, I believe it's the 59 connects to the 6, and I have the 6 in my body graph. So because of that, that whole channel of intimacy is now going to be on for me for the next couple of months. Maybe I should go on a date. Actually, on the other podcast that I talk about the transits, Emma was like, yes, I'm going to start dating right now. What a beautiful time to be doing that. But for me, communication wise, it also does bring this more intimate style of communication into my field. And it's something that I can play with in my marketing. So have a look at that for yourself as well. What new channels are actually activated because of the 59 and the 55 now being active for all of us for the next couple of months? So that's a big one, right? Moving out of this, we've been in this energy where there's heightened emotions and maybe overgiving and boundaries because of the 3740. That's what's been happening. And this now disappears and we move into, inner knowing, true conviction. And that's something that you can really play with in your content as well. All right. The other things that are going on at the same time. So we've had gate 53 in Jupiter for the last few months. Gate 53, and Jupiter, by the way, is the prosperity planet. It is the money-making planet of all of them. And so we've had the 53 showing up in there, and the 53 is all about beginnings. It's like the pressure to start something, new ideas. And it's not necessarily an energy of every idea is a good idea. So you may have tried things that didn't work because you're in this energy of the new. However, that is now moving out and around the same time, and we have gate 62 coming through. Gate 62 is incredibly different. The 62 is about structure. It's about making sure the details are correct. It's about also doing the thing, but having the support in place to do it well. So you can see this is another really different energy. So at the same time that we have the communication center, the throat center turned on for a long period of time, this quarter of civilization where we're making manifest, we've also got the structure coming through here. And we've got the 55 and the 59 turned on. So we are in a season that I would say is much more juicy and like an energy of materializing than where we've been. So this is a time to actually build form into the ideas you've had. This is where you get the right systems and structure into place and you speak to what you want to bring forth into the world. So it's a really fun and strong energy for you to be marketing in. So this is all excellent news. One more thing that does change from a outer planet perspective in May is that we move from in Saturn, the gate 17. Gate 17 is the gate of opinions. Saturn is where we tend to run into friction. So it may be that in the last few months, you've been softening your opinions or you've been speaking them too loudly because this is the friction energy. Okay, so it couldn't play out either ways in the high or the low frequency, but 17 opinions have been running through you. This has been on lately. Now we move into the 21 from May 5th. This one is one of the money gates. It's actually all about resources and being resourceful. So it's all lining up. I want you to know that the background frequency is all lining up for you to step into your work, to be clear on what you want and actually follow through. Take the action, follow through, make it happen. This is when we make it happen. I'm super, super excited for this. So I feel like we've kind of got to the middle of the month at this point, and what you felt is softening in the beginning and then big change coming through in the second half. Couple of other gates to talk to you about that are going to come through in the second half in the sun placement, which is the dominant energy we all feel. So gate 8 comes through next after gate 23. Gate 8 is, well, it can be known as the army, but it's also the gate of contribution. So it's both contribution, but it's also quite individual. So it's about your individual contribution to things. This is a time when, you may be feeling stronger in your leadership and how you personally want to contribute to see results. I think this is a great energy to be launching a new program or finalizing the launch of a new program in, because you're in that leadership energy and you're leaning in and you're really, you're working collaboratively with others, but you're really coming from an individual effort perspective. And then after that, we get into what is the most potent energy of the entire month, and that is gate 20. Now, important to note that if you're into astrology, you will know that Uranus moved into Gemini on the 27th of April 2026. And this signaled a huge change in the astrology world. Well, at the same time, Uranus moved into gate 20, and it will stay there for at least a year. I think it's a full year. Now, gate 20 is throat. So that means we have a throat gate activated. For many of us, that is going to signal that we have a clearer ability to communicate for the next year. Isn't that exciting? I don't have my throat defined, but I do have gate 34 defined, which sits in, oh, pretty sure it sits in the sacral. Part of the integration circuit. So it kind of connects into the spleen and the G center and the throat center. That's the integration center. Anyway, the upshot is that because I have the other half of the 20 channel, I now have both that, and I'm pretty sure it's sacral. I now have the throat center turned on for the next 12 months. And I'm super excited about that, because I often think that the reason I don't podcast more often is because I don't feel like I get all the words out clearly and cohesively every single time, because I don't have my throat center defined. Well, now I do. So check that out for yourself. If you happen to have the 34 in your chart, but you don't have your throat center defined usually, you are going to have the throat center defined for the next year as well. Anyway, back to the 20 itself. This is about the power of now. It's a very potent energy. And what we're going to be experiencing is the power of what's coming through me right now. It's like quite magnetic. It's a huge powerhouse of a gate. And it is going to be showing up both in the sun and in Uranus from May 21st to 27th. So this is a powerful time for you in your marketing. You want to go live. You want to film face to camera. You want to talk about what's coming through you right at this moment. It's not about scripts. It's about amplifying the real you. So mark this date in your calendar as a time when you are going to be ready to really speak your truth. 21st to the 27th, gate 20, showing up for all of us. Important gate, also in that it's showing up in Uranus for the next year. Exciting time. I'm thrilled because I actually have a new product being released in this window. I didn't plan it, honestly, but it's right in this window and it's something that you're going to be super excited for. I'll tease you a little bit. If you've been in my world a long time, you will know that the way that I moved my business into more freedom and more abundance was shifting from all of my sales strategies being live into a low ticket strategy where I have products that you can buy that are under $100 US that sit all over my website and in my link in bio. I have ways that you can get your reports done on my website, and all of this low ticket strategy is what's taken my business and tripled it in size over the last couple of years. Now, I get asked all the time, what is the right low ticket for me? How did you do this? I want a low ticket strategy. I want to add this into my client acquisition strategy. So what I'm going to be bringing through is going to be all about that. So I'm super excited for that. Late May, watch out for it. All right, there's only one more energy that is showing up in the sun transits in May, and that is gate 16. I love this energy. It's the gate of enthusiasm. Of course, it's a throat-centered gate as well. This is the mastery. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be consistent. Amazing marketing energy. So feel into this at the end of May. This is going to be from the 27th till the end of May. So another peak time when being on is going to feel easier. If you're somebody who struggles with visibility a little bit, this is a window where you want to take advantage of the energy supporting you to get out and do it. Awesome. So that is the rundown for the sun transits. I'm not going to go right through all of the Mercury transits, but suffice it to say that Mercury is now moving direct and moving quickly as it does in between retrograde. And what is going on there is even earlier in the month, all the throat-centered gates are showing up. So that is going to mean that we've got this, we've got triple whammy type of energy with the gates that are showing up, with the energy that's showing up in some of the outer planets, and then with both Mercury and the Sun working through all of the throat-centered gates over the next couple of months. So this is a really amazing background frequency for you as a marketer and as a business owner. I don't want you to miss out on how wonderfully supported you're going to be by the cosmos over the next month. So make sure you track along with this. Go and check out your own body graph. Have a look at where these gates are showing up for you, what channels they're turning on, what energy is going to be supporting you over the next month, and let me know what you discover. Make sure you come into my Instagram DM and give me some feedback on this episode, what you liked, what you'd like to hear more about, and tell your friends, because the more people that download it, the more likely it is that I will continue to bring you a transits update every single month. Bye for now. I'll see you next time. There are heaps more resources in the show notes. I can't wait to be back in your ears again soon. Bye for now.